You guys know it's your girl So Fab with TDS Radio. I am here with Kacia of Love is Blind Season 4, the show that has been blowing up all over Netflix. I mean, people have been talking about it nonstop because, we have people who have decided to take a leap of faith when it comes to their love life. Thank you for joining me today. I can't wait to dive in and have this conversation with you and even, talk with you a little bit about what you're doing now, because as you said, it's been a year since you guys have been on.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's so fun. Glad to be here.
Happy to do it. So let's just jump right in. When it comes to Love is Blind, let's talk about your experience, personally, because one of the things that we're hearing about is some behind the scenes negativity. But before we even jump into that, I want to hear firsthand, before I even talk about what some of those things are, how you felt about the show.
Yeah. So I was a huge fan of the show before even thinking about going on it. I've watched every season. I think I had my own thoughts about it. Like, this can't be real. Like, people are not actually falling in love without seeing each other, and they're only talking for days. Like, this is impossible. Like, I don't know. I was a huge fan, but I was not really a believer of the process, I would say. So someone actually reached out to me on Instagram. It was a casting agent. She reached out to me and she's like, "Hey, we're looking for singles in the Seattle area. Would you be interested in going on Love is Blind?" Thought it was a scam. So I didn't answer for the first 2 weeks. I was like, no, this is weird. Like, why me? Like, why would you be asking me that? Like, what about my Instagram gives you, I don't know, a reality star? But no, I was like, this isn't for me. So I thought about it a little bit more, and I think my sister ended up sending me a link to apply. She's like, "Why not? You don't have kids, you don't have a husband, just see what happens." And I was like, yeah, a lady reached out to me for this, so maybe it's legit. So I reached back out to her and I was like, "Can you just tell me a little bit more? I just want to make sure I'm not being scammed." And so she gave me all no, I'm legit. You can look at the Instagram, you see my name. I was like, okay, this is real. So I ended up going through the process, and she was really sweet, let me know I wasn't going to go into something crazy, because obviously I had no idea what reality TV, I watch it, but going on it is a totally different story. So so I went through the process. It was a long, extensive process. You had to they asked you everything, what are you looking for, what's your type. They had you send pictures of your exes, all these things. So I'm at this point, I'm like, oh, you finna find me a good man. You, a man that I was not able to find, you gonna find him. So I was starting to get excited. I'm like, okay, they're asking me what my type is, my pet peeves, what I did not find out in the real world. They do a pretty good job. So yeah, by that point I was like, okay, maybe this is legit. I started getting more hopeful about it, going into it, I might actually find someone. And honestly, I might be a little naive, but at no point was I thinking oh, there might be people in there who just want to get famous. I think because I watched the show, especially when you watch a Lauren and Cameron story, it makes you believe no, these people are really here because they want love, and so I was totally thinking I might meet my husband there. What are the odds that this is going to happen? I don't know. So going into it, I definitely was hopeful that, my person was there, and it was a fun experience. It's something that I still look back on and I'm I can't believe I did something like that. It was just, yeah, it was amazing.
That's awesome. And I'm glad to hear that, because so many times we're often told the dark side of things, to where it's just oh, it was so grueling, taping was grueling. We weren't allowed to eat. We couldn't sleep. We couldn't do this. But yet every time there was a clip that was cut to you or to any of the other ladies, we see you guys laughing. So it seemed like there was some sort of community or friendship that may have blossomed.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. And I think too, you only have these people that you are you're doing this, we don't have phones. We're not able to call our family and friends. So you're really making a bond with these women that you're in the living quarters with. It's just and it's a vulnerable process. So yeah, I mean, I made a bunch of friends, but also no, I never had a moment where I felt like I wasn't given food or drinks. I don't know. And I think some of the previous seasons, they were early seasons, so maybe like they had a smaller budget. I don't know, but they fed us. I was living my best life in there, like, oh, you guys giving us free food? Like, I'm cool. I don't gotta go back home. I don't know. That's how I felt. But yeah, no, it was a good experience for sure.
That's awesome. And I'm glad to hear that because, like I said, you hear so much of the negative side of it. So
Mhm.
to hear that you had a good experience. And when you talk about being in the pods, like
Yeah.
how awkward is that when you're just staring
Mhm.
at this wall? How long are you guys even in there for? How many people are you even talking to in one sitting?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I think the first couple of days is definitely awkward, but so you start out talking, we all date each other. So we
Mhm.
start out, you date the 15 guys on the first day, but it's like 5-minute conversation. And
Okay.
as the days go by, like you start to knock people off your list so the dates get longer. So I think the longest date we had was probably like 3.5 hours, maybe 4 hours or something like
Mhm.
that. um and so that was when you got down to like two or three people. So you date everybody and you get a chance to really like get to know and talk deeply. I think the first 2 days are awkward, but then when you start like knocking down to people that you actually like enjoy talking to, you kind of get used to it. And like it, I don't know, it's a pretty surreal experience. Like you forget cameras are there most of the time, and like just like I don't know, like it actually, to me, it felt a little bit more natural to me because I didn't have to worry about this person staring at me while I was talking to them. Like it actually helped me open up a little bit more. So I thought, I don't know, I think it was a cool thing.
Awesome. Now, were there anyone where you felt like you made a good connection with, where you're just like outside of taping, or what was seen, this was someone that I potentially could have had something with?
Yeah, I so my top two were Marshall and
Mhm,
Juan Johnson. I don't know, he didn't get shown very much, but
mhm.
yeah, those were my top two. And I would say, yeah, for sure. Like, and you can know pretty quickly as well because they give you like topics to talk about. So you don't really go in there and it's like you're just talking about anything. You can do that. You don't have to go off the topics, but I think going off of the things that they give you, you start to really see who's aligned with you and like
Mhm.
who matches your values and stuff like that. And so, yeah, I would say those two, I knew pretty that we had a pretty good connection in there.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
Now I have to ask you because it's one
Yeah,
of the things where I do not like rumors, and I
yeah,
like for people to come up with their own narratives, especially when
yeah,
you can hear from the horse's
sure.
mouth.
Uh,
So when it comes to the relationship with Marshall and him, what happened with Jackie,
mhm,
and allegedly they're like, oh, well, he was taking the ring back to give to you. Is there any
mhm.
validity in that statement whatsoever?
No, no, we did not. Like we had a little thing briefly after the pods, after they had broken off their engagement, obviously, but there was no talk of us like getting engaged or anything like that. We had never, no. And I wouldn't, like I told her too, I'm like, girl, I wouldn't have wanted a ring that he had just given to you anyway. Like, don't you think better of me than that? Like, I don't know. So, but yeah, no. So none of that.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
then even when it comes to the show,
Mhm.
and outside of you guys being in the pods, are you guys still communicating at all?
Me and Marshall.
Just in, you and any of the
Just
castmates?
oh, yeah, we're, like, so close now, like, all
Awesome.
of us, like, it's I think when you go through something like this too, like, you even come back and you're like, "Dang, like, how do I even explain this to, like, my close friends and family?" Like, even them, they might not understand completely, like, you come home and you tell your parents, "Yeah, I think I, like, fell in love with somebody in 9 days." They're like, "Are you crazy?" Like, that's not a thing, but, like, to them, like, we all understand, like, what we went through, and so yeah, we're all close now. It's been like a big support
Awesome.
system and just like, I don't know, it's great. We all live in the same area. Like it's just,
Right.
yeah, it's been awesome.
Right. And then when you see people attacking your castmates, like for instance, people were coming after Irina,
Yeah.
Micah, Jackie, things like that, or even Paul. Paul got, a lot
Mhm.
of backlash. How does that make you feel when you've actually been with these people, you've talked with
Mhm.
them, you guys built these relationships?
Yeah. Um, it's hard. It's very hard to not like clap back on their behalf as well,
Mhm,
especially because when you really know, like you know the other side of somebody.
mhm.
I think the thing about Love Is Blind is that you really only get to see one side of a person, and they don't get to pick which side that you get to see. Like
Right.
and I think that's, I mean, it's how it is. It's what you sign up for, unfortunately. But yeah, it's really hard. And I think specifically for me, because me and Jackie are pretty close, and
Mhm.
that was really hard for me, because I'm like, I understand, like, from what people saw, like, why they would be like, oh yeah, no, she's not a good person or
Mhm.
whatever. But having a relationship with her outside of this experience, and knowing it was a year ago, and we're all like trying to move forward with our lives,
Mhm.
like, it's definitely hard. And I think that what people don't see is how it affects them mentally, outside of all that. Like, of course, they're not going to get on Instagram or whatever and be like, I'm feeling this way about what you guys are saying about me. But I hear it, and it's like,
Mhm.
it's really sad. And yeah, I wish people thought more about the things that they said before they said them.
Absolutely, and it's always easier to judge when you're behind,
Right, when
when
you're
you're on the
yeah,
couch.
yeah. Yeah, it's like, no one really knows how they would act in these type of scenario. Like, it's highly emotional. You're trying to make this huge decision within
Mhm.
weeks. Like, it's like you're in a, like we all say, like, you're in like this pressure cooker, and like
Right.
the worst parts of you can come out. And I mean, I don't think any of us knew that going into it. Otherwise, some of us might have been like, actually, I like, if we knew the outcome of this, like, I probably wouldn't, I don't know if I would do this. But yeah, so that has been pretty hard.
Exactly. And when
Mhm.
you have so many eyes on you, when the world is watching, everybody's
Mhm.
going to form their opinions because
Right.
they're
Right.
watching the show.
Yeah.
Editing does a lot of magic for
Mhm.
not telling
Mhm.
the full
Yes, it
story,
does.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when things like that happen, and you're participating in the social experiment, does it make you realize that, mm, is this something that I really wanted to do at the end
Right.
of the day?
Yeah, I think just from, I mean, I don't know how I would prefer, but I think part of me was kind of relieved. Like, not that I was in there like acting crazy, but I felt a sense of relief that, like, oh, like, I didn't realize that this side of this comes out. Like, I'm kind of glad no one really, like,
Right.
there's still, who is Keisha? Who is Keisha? Like, I'm kind of glad that I kind of had that, because it affects a lot of, like, a lot of your life, like your
Mhm.
job, your like reputation. I think some of them have said they've gone in public and people address them like they're on, like, who they were on the show, like,
Right.
oh, like, you were this and you were that and da, 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 da. But it's like not fair. Like, how about I'm in front of you now? How about you, like, say hi to me, get to know who I am outside of that, you know? And I mean, I think so, like, you grow so much from it. So I don't know if anybody would be like, I regret doing it, because you
Mhm.
see yourself in a whole different light, you grow. So I think it's worth it at the end of the day, but it can be, it can get rough.
Yeah, yeah, I can only imagine, and we will definitely touch back on that,
Mhm.
especially when it comes to mental health, because it is Mental
Yeah.
Health Awareness Month.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I wanted to ask you was, some of the controversy behind Love Is Blind was not enough diversity.
Yeah.
You weren't seeing enough people who look like us.
Mhm.
Not enough people of color.
Yeah.
And in the promo for this season, when we saw, we saw
Mhm.
Kwame, we saw
Yeah.
Marshall, we're seeing Jackie, we're like, yo,
Yeah. Yeah.
all these people. And then when you watch the show, you're like, oh, okay.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So how
Yeah.
does that make you feel? Because I will say it was almost kind of like, for me, looking at it as someone who's never been on the show, who is a fan,
Mhm. Mhm.
who interviews people in the entertainment world.
Mhm.
I was happy, but I also know how promo works, where
Right.
it's kind of like a bait of, look,
Yes.
this is what we're
Right.
showing you, but when
Yeah.
it comes down to the show, this is what we're giving you. So how did that?
Right. Um, yeah, I think at the end of the day, you got, like, it's a great experience, but you have to also keep in the back of your mind that it's entertainment, and like,
Mhm.
these people don't owe us, like, they don't owe us anything. Like, of course we're all hopeful, like, oh well, like, maybe because we're watching it at the same time as everyone else, so we don't know, like, that our story's edited out or anything like that. So yeah, I think we all, like, all of us who didn't really have our story shown, were kind of like, like, dang, this kind of sucks. But I will say, there are people who are not, people of color, whose story was completely edited out and they were engaged. So like, I feel
Mm.
like in that sense, I would be a little bit more slighted, like the fact that you made it all the way to engagement and you are nowhere to be found. And like,
Right.
I don't know, but yeah, I can see like how they like baiting people in with the
Mhm.
people of color and all that stuff like that. And I don't know if it's a ploy. It might be. I don't know,
Mhm.
but I do think it's unfortunate. But I will say I might be biased, but I feel like our season was probably one of the best, if not the best, because I don't say we had so many black people, but like I just think seeing vulnerable black men, that's not something you see on television very often. I was very proud of that. Tiffany and Brett, so proud to see that, like a healthy black couple. I think I tried to just focus on the pros, like what are the good things? Like, yeah, my best friend Kendra, we might not have been shown that much, but like
Mhm.
what are the pros? What are the pros for us, people that look like us? And I think those two were a win for sure. So
Absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely,
yeah.
and I also love that they were not a problematic couple.
Oh
You
no.
know, it was
Yeah,
just the two of them deeply in love, listening to each
yeah.
other, respecting one another, and that
Mhm.
is definitely something where it's just like, okay, that makes it worth it. But editing room and Netflix, y'all know y'all wrong for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know y'all
I
wrong.
know, yeah. Yeah, but hey.
So when it comes to the mental health aspect of it, because
Mhm.
like I said, this is reality TV.
Yeah.
You know, there are
Mhm.
people who are watching. This is your reputation. This is your
Yeah.
image, and you're putting it out there for all to see. How did it
Mhm.
affect you?
Yeah, I think leading up to it, because like I said in the pause, sometimes you do forget that you're being
Mm-hmm.
filmed. And when you make like a deep connection with somebody, you start to talk about your childhood and
Mm-hmm.
like some things I had gone through with my parents that I probably like if I would have been thinking clearly, I might not have said. And like, I don't know, you start thinking about like, dang, are they gonna air this? Like, oh gosh, like I said this about my relationship with my dad. Like, I don't want to make my dad look bad. Or like you just
Yeah.
start to think about stuff like that. And even having to relive it once the season is aired, like you kind of go back to like the emotions that you felt in the pods. And I think
Mhm.
yeah, it's hard. Like
Mhm.
I can't imagine being someone who like got engaged or got married. Like it was hard for me and I didn't even like make it to that point. But I
Right.
think when you go through it and you have actual real emotions for someone, or like you really put your heart into it, like it can affect you pretty deeply. So yeah, for me mentally it got tough at times. And I think I just had to be gentle with myself and be like, hey, like this is not a normal experience. Most people don't have to go through this or like relive certain emotions. Like most of us can just cut off an ex, never see him again if we don't want to. But like now you're seeing people that you've dated everywhere. Like it's just kind of
Exactly.
like, yeah, like this is not a normal thing. And so I think I've really been just trying to give myself time to process and like
Mhm.
be like allow myself to feel my emotions and be okay with it. And so yeah.
Absolutely. And I think it's awesome that you mentioned allowing yourself to feel your emotions,
Yeah.
because that's something that we tend to do when we are about to cry or we get emotional. We apologize because, like, I
Yeah.
don't want you to see me in this vulnerable state.
Right. Right.
So, how was it for you? Were you able to kind of be that comforting spirit to other people when they're coming back? Their date may have gone wrong, or someone's
Mhm.
crying because the decision is hard, things are starting to get
Mhm.
to them. Were you able to kind of give them that shoulder to cry on?
Absolutely. We all were like,
Mhm.
because we like you said, like I said, we only had each other. So it was just
Mhm.
like, dang, like, and then it's weird because these when you end like like you end something with someone, like they feel like real breakups. Like
Mhm.
it feels like, dang, I might have just told this person my whole life story. And now we're realizing like, but yeah, like it's not like strong enough for marriage. So we kind of gotta end it. Like, and so you're going through that over and over until you like narrow it down. So
Mhm.
it's just it's an amazing experience, but it's definitely emotionally like
Right.
taxing. And
Mhm.
um yeah, so we all were like just like, you know what, I got you. Like we have each other. Even women who were dating the same men, you're just kind of like, I'm sorry, but I know I like him too, but I'm sorry it didn't work out for you. Like you gotta be that way. Like it's just
Right,
what it
right.
is. But yeah, yeah, definitely.
And I'm glad to hear that because it does make it seem when you watch the show that you're going against each other in a competitive way and not
Mhm.
necessarily a sympathetic way of like we're in this
Right.
together.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that firsthand.
Mhm.
So I mean, now that it's been a year,
Yeah.
you know, the show is over, it's
Mhm.
wrapped, even though there's still people still talking about
Yeah. Yeah.
it.
Yeah. It was a pretty chaotic season.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
But, where are you now in your space, in your love life?
Yeah. So I've been dating someone for about 8 months now. Yeah, I met a lovely young man. I remember being in the pods, and they asked me like, "What are you looking for? Like, what's something you're
Mhm.
looking for?" And I was like, "You know what? Like, I feel like in my dating life, I've never had a man that just like allowed me to rest and like was just like,
Mhm.
hey, like, I don't want you to have to work so hard."
Mhm.
And that's something that I was really looking for in there and didn't find him in there, but I found him in the real world. And so yeah, that's where I'm at. I think the pods allowed me to like really get to like the heart of what I was looking for, and I needed that experience. So
And
yeah.
will you be posting the new boo, or we're not about that life yet?
We will. I think especially with this whole thing, I've been kind of like, I just like having something to myself. Like,
Oh, that's
I don't
right.
know, just but I will though. Eventually, we've talked about it, and it's just kind of like, yeah, we'll do it when we're ready, and we're
Oh,
enjoying our little solitude, private, peaceful
yeah.
relationship right now.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah.
with the experience and it being so expedited, would you expedite your current relationship, or would you rather keep it to where it's slow and steady wins the race?
Yeah, slow and steady is good. I mean, with the Love is Blind process, like I said, I went into it not really a believer that
Mhm.
that could happen. Um, and I feel like it's something that you sign up for and it's great for that context. But if you don't have to rush a relationship, I don't think it's not the wisest thing to do. So
Mhm.
right now, I just think we're doing what's wise. And it's like we're really taking the time to get to know each other. Like, I'm going to meet his family in New Orleans for the first time in a couple weeks. Like, I wouldn't have that experience if we just rushed. I mean, I would, but we'd probably be married at this point. And so, and not
Exactly.
that that can't work, but I do think it's an anomaly. And like, yeah, we're just taking our time. And
I'm here for it.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome. And then professionally, because you said off camera that even though on the show it says that you are a family support specialist, where are
Mhm.
you now?
Yeah, so I was family support specialist a year ago. I when I got back from the show, I was just like, I think like it's time for me to do something different. Like I've always loved youth, and when I was a family support specialist, I was like solely working with like high school kids. So now I still work with high school kids, but more in a like youth mentoring space. So doing a lot of work in the high schools and like I'm also a Christian, so it's a lot of like faith-based counseling as or faith-based mentoring as well. And yeah, so that's what I do for work now. It's
That's
pretty great.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's
Mhm.
awesome. Now, has there been any sort of, any sort of kickback or anything regarding you being on the show? Like maybe some of the kids seeing it and be like, "Oh, saw you on Love Is Blind," or even the person that you're dating. Does it
Yeah.
make anyone feel uncomfortable?
Yeah, so the kids, like, they were all excited about it. I think some of their parents were like, "Oh gosh, like, this girl, like, my kids love her, like, what is she doing? Where are we gonna see something weird?" Luckily for me, you didn't really see much, so I think I got off kinda great there. The person I'm dating, he's been so supportive
Awesome.
of this whole thing. Like, he's like, "It happened a year ago, like, you still had the experience. I wasn't around, so I can't really say much." Yeah, so I think he's just been supportive. He's like, whatever makes you happy, and if this is something you deeply like feel you believe in and want to keep talking about it, I'm there for it. So he's been awesome.
That is awesome. That
Mhm.
is so, so awesome. And I'm glad to hear good things,
Yeah.
that came
Mhm.
from this. So knowing what you know now and the
Yeah.
experience that you have, the friendships, the bonds, the social media trolls and all
Mhm.
of that, would you sign up again?
Yes, I would.
Really?
If I was single,
That's right.
especially knowing what I know now, because I think I understand the process a little bit better.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I would definitely do it again. Like I think that you just learn so much about yourself. I don't know, like it's a really great experience. Like I think if I was someone who left it and got like a whole bunch of like bad negative comments or something like that, I don't know. My answer might be different, but I don't know, just everything that I got from it, the friendships. I like two of my best friends I met there.
Mhm.
Like I just feel like I grew so much as a woman. Like I don't regret it at all. I would do it again for
That
sure.
is awesome. And being as self-aware as you are, because when you work in the mental health industry, you
Yeah.
have to be, you
Yeah.
have to be emotionally mature and intelligent.
Yeah.
So having those qualities, what advice would you give to someone who may not be there quite yet,
Mhm.
and is putting their life out there potentially to be critiqued by others?
Yeah, I think I would say to really work on being comfortable with who you are. I
Mhm.
think the reason why so many people have trouble accepting criticism most of the time is because they're uncomfortable with the truth, like about themselves. Like, especially when
Mhm.
you go into something like this, most people will tell you, like, yeah, you got to do this, like, make sure you act like this. But I say, be yourself. Like, one, if you're going to find love, you don't want somebody to fall in love with a representative of you. You
Hello?
want them to fall in love with you. So I think, like, be yourself, be comfortable with who you are, your quirks. Like, that's what makes you you. There's not another you. You don't need to be someone else. So I would say just being comfortable with who you are. And I think accepting, like I said earlier, just accepting your emotions. I'm a pretty sensitive and emotional woman. And for a long time, I thought like there was a problem with that. But there's not. And I think that I've learned to process my emotions in a healthy way, but be okay with the fact that this is how I am. And there's pros to it. And I love who I am. So yeah.
No, that's right. I'm here for you.
Aw,
I'm
sweet.
here for you. I'm here for this relationship. Like, yes,
Yeah.
girl, when you get married, I need a wedding
Yeah.
invite.
Listen, it'll be a party for sure.
You have been an absolute joy and a ray of sunshine. And I thank you for showing the positive of it, because we
Mhm.
hear so much of the negative.
Right.
So it's good to hear that there was a lot of positivity behind it. And the key thing that I think is a takeaway from all of this is remember that these are everyday people,
Yeah.
who are put in situations that are magnified across the
Sure.
world, not even just the US. And it's tough. So
Yeah.
it's like, take it easy on people, please.
Right. Right.
Um, and like I said, I'm happy to know that you came out of this a better person,
Mhm.
and a better
Awesome.
woman, and you
Yeah.
found love, because it's
Mhm.
already tough enough as it is being a Black woman in this world.
Yeah. For
For
sure.
so for you to come out of it still feeling soft, and
Mhm.
getting what it is that you absolutely want. I am so happy for you, and I hope that everything works out. I wish you nothing but the best,
Thank you
and
so much.
nothing but continued success, because you are a gem.
Thank you so much. So sweet. This is so sweet. Love this. Thank you.
Girl, I'm always here for a Black woman, honey. I'm
Well, I love that. Same. Listen, me too. Me too. So I love this. Thank you so much.
Yes. So let everyone know, if you want them to, if you want people in your business, let them know how they can follow you, how they can find you on social media.
Yeah, I'm on Instagram at Kacia, Kacia dot Marie. I dibble and dabble on TikTok, but not really. But that's at Kacia Clark if you want to. My main social media is Instagram. So
I know,
yeah.
right? Can we talk
Mhm.
about it? Goodness.
Yeah, I think I'm too old. I don't know. It's just
Right.
the same.
I think
Yeah.
it's something about women in their 30s where I'm like, I'm too old for
Yeah,
TikTok.
I'm too old. I gotta learn a whole new social media. It's too much.
So, thank you again, Kacia.
Of
It has been
course.
awesome. I appreciate you so much, and know that you have a family here at TDS Radio. So
I
whenever you
love
want to
it.
come and chop it up, or if there is a mission, passion on your heart, that is attached to you and the work that you do, just know that you have an avenue and a platform to speak and talk about it.
Thank
So
you so much. This is
yes.
so awesome. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, honey. Thank
Mhm.
you. And thank you guys for watching. Like I said, follow her, and stay out of these people's business, because they're like,
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough, a little rough. So yeah, no. Thanks.
it's TDS Radio.